Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Shakur show. Also, thanks to those of you tuned in on the Queen Shakur TV show. I'm your host, Queen Shakur, and this is your Daily Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and give this video a like and a share. Okay, be sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Click the notification bell, click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. If you don't like the commentary, will always exit stage left. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok, Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. Okay, so now earlier this morning on your morning wake-up call, I was telling you how ghetto this whole country is, right? Well, pay attention. Because now they're going in, MSM that is going in on Tara Reade, Biden's accuser. Okay, now you may have heard about this back in 2020 when he was running for president, when they were talking about, or actually when he just got in office, I believe. But anyway, they were saying that in 1993, this woman was a former staffer who said that he was in fact harassing her. And so now they're going in on her. MSM is because she's fled to Russia. Okay, pay attention. And so former staffer who accused Joe Biden of sexual assault has defected to Moscow, telling state media that she felt safe in Russia and would seek citizenship there because clearly she doesn't feel safe here in this ghetto country called the Divided Snakes. All right, she said that she was receiving threats in the U.S. I find it also interesting. The Biden crime family continues to run their nefarious shenanigans across this country. Pay attention, all right? So Biden has strongly denied Reade's allegations, and no ex-Biden staffer has come forward to say that they ever witnessed or heard any kind of sexual misconduct in his Senate office. Well, I'm sure they wouldn't just come out and say it. I mean, if she said that she feels unsafe here and has to, in fact, leave and go to Russia, well, please make it all make sense why anyone else would come forward, okay? Please. At the end of the day, I'm just saying. And in an interview with MSNBC in 2020, Biden said that he had said unequivocally, it never happened. Sounds like Bill Clinton when they were talking about Monica Lewinsky, and he said, I never had sexual relations with that woman. Pay attention. That's all I'm saying. Now, it didn't. It never happened, he said. Reade later faced credibility questions of her own, including about her education and other credentials. Yeah, I'm sure they went trying to dig up all the dirt they could on this poor woman. I mean, what does her education and credentials have to do with her saying that she was assaulted and harassed? I have questions. Okay, so anyway, they say after being out of the headlines, Reade turned up in Moscow on Tuesday, where she sat alongside convicted Kremlin spy Maria Butina. Okay, and answered questions from Russian state media over several hours. During the news conference, Butina promised to discuss the possibility of granting Russian citizenship to Reade and asked Putin to fast track her citizenship request. So clearly, this woman is afraid. Okay, clearly she's afraid. And so anyway, let me just pull up this audio so you all can hear it. I'm not going to show the video because I don't want any copyright issues with ScrewTube. You know how they do. Please get those likes up because you all know that I am shadow banned, okay? And I'm out here bringing you all breaking news every day. Please pay attention, okay? So here's the audio from what she actually said herself.
You know, I'm worried about your physical.
Said earlier this week that she had moved to Russia and was seeking citizenship there. This is according to Sputnik, a Russian government-run news site. Let's take a look.
The attacks will continue. I only know that when I got off the plane in Moscow for the first time in a very long time, I felt safe and I felt heard and I felt respected. And that has not happened in my own country. I did talk to U.S. Congressman Matt Gaetz. I have not concealed anything. I told him I was in Moscow, Russia, and I told him why. And he said something very stunning. I am considered a whistleblower, as you know, in the United States. One of the cases I will be testifying is about how the DOJ and the FBI has weaponized by the Biden administration against its own citizens. So he said, Tara, You know, I'm worried about your physical safety.
Now, the media reaction to this, I think, has been somewhat outsized to what is actually happening here. Tara Reade saying that she feels less safe in the United States, where, of course, the political implications of her raising her claim at the time that she did meant that she was very much treated differently, I would say, by the mainstream media, who did not seem to have any interest in weighing the credibility of her concerns the way they had with, for example, Christine Blasey Ford, who had accused Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault when they were students together. Of course, nobody knows what happened in any of these instances except for the people there. But what we do know definitively is that the media treatment and interest in actually investigating and following up on some corroborated evidence that Tara Reade had was nil.
Grossly different. And frankly, making this even more disgusting, I'm seeing a lot of, I've gotten personal messages, they're off the record, so I won't share the people behind them, but people in mainstream media saying, oh, look at you. Yeah, how do you feel now? You took this more seriously than I did, but she's a Russian student. She's moving to Russia. So you must feel pretty stupid for even writing about this and covering it. And to be clear, I only said we should apply a standard evenly across the board.
Right.
I personally, I did not vote for Joe Biden because I'm not a Democrat and I don't support his policies.
Same.
And if I had been inclined to vote for him, I frankly don't think a many decades old accusation, barring extremely compelling evidence that is very likely to have happened, would have changed my mind. And honestly, I would have, and I felt the same way about the Kavanaugh confirmation and a lot of Me Too instances. It was liberal activists who took the position that you should automatically believe accusers rather than just treat them with respect and dignity, which is what I think you should do, and which put Democrats in, and Joe Biden himself, who agreed with that standard, in a totally unsustainable situation, given that he had faced accusations, not just from her, but from other people, hers being the most serious. Look, that she has subsequently, even if, let's say you think these subsequent actions, this, posture toward Russia is not wise, or is a little too, I don't know, counting of Russia's bad behavior. Let's say you think that. I don't think that changes the underlying accusation whatsoever. And in fact, it could be that someone who made an accusation and then was not taken seriously was gaslit by a mainstream media that was eager to dig into every single Me Too instance of anyone on the planet except hers. Yeah. Maybe got a little paranoid and a little conspiratorial, and went down some rabbit hole of some thinking the world is against her because of that behavior. Also, that would not be surprising at all.
I don't know that we can even call it paranoia when the media was very much against her. Listen to this from contemporary coverage of this news story in the New York Times. The New York Times writes, in interviews with the New York Times in April of 2020, no former Biden staff members could corroborate any details of Ms. Reade's allegation. No former Biden staff members could corroborate. Let's recall, because we should talk about it here, because at the time, the media had no interest in talking about all the corroborating evidence, which frankly, I don't know what happened.
No other wolves could corroborate what happened to the three little pigs.
Right. But I don't know what happened, but I do know that there was more corroborating evidence in the Tara Reade case than there was in the Christine Blasey Ford case. Starting with the fact that she contemporaneously told her brother and a close friend of the assault when it happened. She also told her mother, who is deceased. However, her mother made a call to Larry King Live talking about the assault, which somebody, when Tara Reade raised that in an interview, I think with Katie Halper, someone dug it up, and now we have the video of Tara Reade's mom talking about her, corroborating well before, like this is in the 90s, corroborating Tara Reade's account. Okay, this was in the event probably, or maybe it was in the early aughts, but the event happened, it happened in 1993. The call to Larry King Live happened in 1993. Okay, moreover, Tara Reade says that she reported the assault to a member of Biden's staff, Marianne Banker, the office manager in Biden's office at the time. Now, this is maybe what the New York Times is alluding to, that when contacted, Marianne Baker said, she's never heard of this. She doesn't know that anything happened. But in an article in The Intercept, Ryan Grimm wrote, he pointed out that, quote, for Baker's statement to be true, Reade would have had to have lied to her friend, brother, and mother about having complained to Biden's office. and there's no obvious reasons to that. Now, people will say the timing is bad. She's coming up with this in April of 2020. This is political, but that doesn't explain why at 1993 and before, she had made all of these statements contemporaneously or near contemporaneously to other people in her lives. And that's something that no one in the media really reckoned with or engaged with in any way. And I don't remember there being any pressure at all on Baker to look through, to do document requests, record requests, try to see if there's any actually evidence that can corroborate on the opposite side what Tara Reade had been saying.
Yeah, the excuses people in the mainstream media came up with in private conversations with me when I would ask people, why aren't you covering this? Why aren't you digging into this? Why don't you have the interest in this that you had about Christine Blasey Ford or 100 other things? The excuses they came up with were so just flatly absurd and ridiculous. It was clear that it was inconvenient for Joe Biden, and it was it was a lack of willingness to cast aspersions on him at that point. Even though there was still someone running for the Democratic nomination at the time who did not have sexual misconduct accusations against them. And again, I am not asserting whatsoever that this should be the standard, that you get accused of anything, that's it, it's over for you. I think we went way too over our skis in due process bad ways and in like public, burn them at the stake kind of views. But this was a standard the mainstream media wholly bought into for everyone else.
And even if you believe women to the side, you should at very least believe in investigating claims that come up.
Yes.
That should be the standard, that you treat all of these claims as potentially credible, you investigate them, and either they are or they aren't. And in fact, we can't memory hole that there were a number of people who accused Joe Biden of sexual misconduct at the beginning of his campaign. His own vice president, Kamala Harris, said that she believed Biden's accusers. People like Alyssa Milano, who were key members of the Me Too movement, flipped on a head of a pen when it came to the accusations about Joe Biden, immediately ran covering him. People People like Stacey Abrams were courted on TV and made to say that they basically immediately, without having any opportunity to know anything about what happened, said that they believed Joe Biden. And watching this as a third party at the time was incredible.
It was incredible to Alyssa Milano's former co-host, Rose McGowan, who went ballistic about it. It was like, are you kidding me?
Yep. And in fact, Alyssa Milano founded a podcast pro Joe and had Joe Biden on as her first guest on her Me Too Times Up podcast. In the midst of all of these allegations in the spring of 2020. It was disgusting. And to the extent that people did not believe that the Me Too movement was in good faith, I think that, many people, it was in good faith. The people had experienced sexual assault and were so happy to be able to have space to...
That's absolutely all true, okay? That's absolutely all true. Now, they sat up there, like they said, and they flipped everything that they had previously said about believe all the women and going so hard in the paint for these cases, specifically against men who are Black, okay? Bill Cosby, for example. They had so much to say, but when it came to Joe Biden, whether all of the information and evidence had come out, they were quick to say, Stacey Abrams included, okay? They were also quick to have his back and act as though he didn't do anything wrong, and as if this woman, Tara Reade, was not to be given any credibility. Okay, they didn't give her the same respect, is all I'm saying. Why they want to sit here and go in about Trump and Stormy Daniels and money being paid off and all of that? Why don't they say anything about Joe Biden? Why is he always safe? Okay, why is his entire family, the dirt that they do or the things and accusations against them that are always levied are swept under the rug? Okay, I have questions. And at the end of the day, it's just all so crazy. Now, the fact that this woman felt the need to actually leave this country speaks volumes, because I want you to pay attention. If you recall, John Paul McIsaac, the man who turned in Hunter Biden's laptop, okay, who had to leave the state, pay attention, lost his business, lost his home, had to uproot himself. Okay, why is it that when anyone says anything against Biden's nefarious crime family, in my opinion, people have to uproot themselves from where they are? People all of a sudden don't feel safe. People are being threatened. Okay, I'm not saying the Bidens are threatening them, but I'm saying these people are saying they've been threatened, and they have to uproot themselves and move and just change their entire lives around. I find it all very interesting. And at the end of the day, they wanted to sit here and make these excuses and say it was decades old information. They couldn't substantiate it. None of the other staffers came forward. Well, why would they come forward? Okay, why would they come forward? When we see what happens to people who speak against Biden's family. Okay, we see what happens to people who spoke against Barack Obama. Those people came up deleted. Now, I'm not saying Barack or anybody in the Democratic Party had anything to do with it, but I just find it all very interesting. Larry Sinclair, okay, what happened to him? Okay, he got run down by a car. Is that what we're supposed to just think was all just a coincidence after he gave out all that information? But anyway, Miss Reade worked as an assistant for Biden when he was a senator in Delaware. And she was 29 years old at the time. Okay, so with that all being said, it was in 2020 during his presidential campaign before he actually got to be the president. But it was when his campaign was getting underway. That's when she came out and said that he assaulted her in a Capitol Hill corridor. Okay, when she was working for him. Now, my thing is, if Me Too was shouting from the rooftops and the hills at one point, believe all women, well, why didn't they believe this woman? Okay, sounds like selective outrage and like narratives being pushed and agendas as well. That's all I'm saying. Now, they could sit down somewhere. This is also nefarious, and this country absolutely is ghetto, just like I told you all this morning. It is absolutely ghetto. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, as you remember, I was telling you all the stuff that Larry Sinclair came out and said, and then he turned up deceased. But hold on, because I have a clip from an interview he did. Likes up, everyone, please. Do not forget to like and share. You all know that they have me shadow banned. Oh, I'm sorry. Apparently, I don't have the video. That must have been scrubbed from the internet, because now when I tried to pull up the Larry Sinclair interview, it actually says video not available. So I guess they took that right on down. Please pay attention. Okay. So moving right along. Also nefarious. So they say an ex-cop gets life in prison for deleting his girlfriend who insulted the size of his cucumber. Please pay attention. All right. Please pay attention. So anyway, let's get into it. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. So here's what they say. Let me put his picture up on the screen. Let me put his picture up on the screen. These are the people that are supposed to be trusted to protect and serve. Please pay attention, okay? Also nefarious. So that's the thug right there, Jason Cunningham. Okay, and that's his girlfriend who's now deceased. Jason Cunningham was sentenced to life in prison for fatally shooting his girlfriend. Okay, a former Georgia deputy got this sentence for fatally shooting his girlfriend, according to reports. Now, they say he pleaded guilty to the murder of Nicole Harrington and will spend, in fact, the rest of his life behind bars, where he needs to be. And there's plenty of the rest of them that need to be behind bars for life, too. Out here deleting people who are unarmed. Pay attention. Okay, Cunningham admitted to shooting the 37-year-old woman of three, mom of three, in the back of the head in June of 2020 after she insulted the size of his manhood. Well, it must have been true for him to get that upset. But let me continue. He then left her body in the elevator of a parking garage. Okay. Now they say this was in the affidavit. They say that Cunningham and Harrington were having an affair and he went to break things off with her. She became irate and he didn't know what to do. After their argument grew loud, he confessed to shooting Harrington from behind as she got into the elevator. Why didn't he just lie and say he feared for his life, like they do when they say when they shoot somebody who looks like me from behind? Now, Cunningham was arrested following an 8-hour standoff. He was also sentenced to 5 years for possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. What a thug. What an absolute thug. So I am not surprised. Absolutely not surprised. Now, with that all being said, what about this man who beheaded his girlfriend on a Minnesota sidewalk? And he ended up getting convicted of first-degree premeditated murder. And this is Alex Saboritz, 44 years old, likely facing a life sentence. So he was found guilty of the July 2021 murder of America Thayer, who was 55 years old, following a court hearing, okay, during which he waived his right to a jury trial. Sorberit was found guilty of felony count murder, first degree premeditated. His review hearing is scheduled for June the 1st. Now, they reported that County Attorney Ron Hocevar anticipates Sorberit will now be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Well, that's exactly what he needs to get. Cut someone's whole head off. They said that witnesses saw Thayer alive with the defendant in her Chrysler 300 sedan at about 2 p.m. in Shakopee's Memorial Park. Approximately 30 minutes later, multiple witnesses saw a man attacking a woman in a Chrysler 300 sedan in the intersection of Spencer Street and 4th Avenue in Shakopee, which is about 1 mile away from the park they were initially at. Other witnesses then saw a man standing outside of the open passenger door, striking the victim with a hand weight. Okay, saying that they saw the man chopping at the front passenger seat with a large knife and then pulled a decapitated head out and severed, okay, and the severed head, pulled a decapitated body and the severed head out of the vehicle. This is also crazy. Now, one of the witnesses drove by again and saw a body and a severed head on the ground right outside the vehicle. The defendant used a dumbbell to strike Thayer in the head and a machete to decapitate her. The nature of the assault is proof of the defendant's intent to cause her death. So it was absolutely premeditated. According to a release by the Shakopee's Police Department in July of 2021, officers responded to a call of a stabbing between 4th Avenue and Spencer Street. Thayer was later discovered with stab wounds and pronounced deceased at the scene on a sidewalk, okay, in Shakopee, Minnesota. Officers quickly apprehended 42-year-old Alexis Sorberit of Shakopee on suspicion of second-degree murder. How is that second degree? This is first-degree capital. Like, please, make it all make sense. Now, so on Thursday, Lennon described him and Thayer's relationship as tumultuous and marked by frequent arguments and accusations of abuse, along with alleged prior threats. Thayer wanted to end the relationship, and the defendant knew she wanted to get rid of him. Now, they say that in 2021, Thayer's co-workers at MyPillow detailed the devastating impact of her brutal murder. One person said, I went there today and went to the store and got her a rose and a teddy bear to put on her desk. That's what Jamie Wardley said. When I got there, I didn't even look at any of my coworkers. I just stood at her desk with my head down. Everyone was just crying. It was a very emotional day and still is. Thayer's friend of 5 years, Nikki Kindred, also described Thayer as a soft-spoken and said she was so funny and always had amazing stories. She was just truly the kindest to everyone. I haven't met anyone as generally kind as America as she was since my late grandma. This is all crazy, all very crazy, and clearly sad. So let me show this thug's face up on the screen, because I don't know what is wrong with some people. Just going out here on murderous rampages, I guess, and then doing things that you would usually expect to see in a horror movie, okay? Cutting off someone's entire head, like, make that make sense. What kind of demonic energy must you possess to do something so ghastly? And this is the woman right here. Oh, so sad, honey. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And so they say 5 people were arrested after a reported fight at a Circle K. Also ghetto, like I keep telling y'all, pay attention. And you already know there's some people who look like me, honey. When you hear fight at a Circle K, I'm just sorry, but it reeks of our own folk. So here's what they say. Lake City Police Department responded to a reported fight at Circle K on 938 West Duval Street. Now, when officers arrived, they saw 5 people in a fight. While officers were attempting to separate the fighters, one of the suspects sprayed pepper spray on the other suspects, including one of the officers. Now, those affected by the pepper spray were treated on the scene by EMS. All 5 were arrested for a fray, with the individual using the pepper spray also being charged with aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer. Just idiots, okay? Just idiots. I mean, thank God they didn't have guns and no one lost their life. But the fact that they're out here fighting like cats and dogs in public, making whole fools of themselves, and now this fool's going to be hit with an assault on an officer, or has been hit with an assault on an officer charge because you chose to spray pepper spray. Oh, so crazy. Here they go right here. Hope their parents are proud. Just ridiculous. So anyway, now here's some good news. This is actually some good news. Pay attention, because just yesterday, I believe it was, I told you all about a 15-year-old who graduated from college, okay, worked very hard, had amazing grades, and then went back to her school to encourage other students. Now we have a 15-year-old student who earned a diploma from Lincoln and a degree from TCC. A shout out to her. Okay, for as long as Demetria Coley can remember, school has always been a top priority for her. Growing up, kids her age were busy playing with toys, while Demetria could be found reading and playing educational games. Years of dedication to academic excellence helped her make history as she became the youngest student to graduate with an Associate of Arts degree from Tallahassee Community College at only 15 years old. Now, from an early age, she knew she wanted to pursue a career in medicine, and May the 27th, she graduated from Lincoln High School, already halfway through her college career. She first had her sights set on becoming a cardiothoracic surgeon, but now has decided to pursue nursing. She said she is grateful to be one step closer to her professional career. With most of her prerequisites finished, Demetria could complete her nursing degree as soon as 2 years from now. Okay, well, shout out to her. Shout out to her. So with that all been said, everyone please get those likes up. Please like and share. Y'all know they have me shadow banned. Let me just remind you all yet again. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok, Dr. A Shakur, Twitter, DGoddess27. I wish you all love, peace, prosperity. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, and never destructive, beloveds. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
With that flavor all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got